Starting in the new year in 2027, we're going to help push it through Woodside and the other unincorporated areas of the fire district, because that's really what we want, is to standardize the messaging and then assist have the EPCs assist WPV Ready with pushing out the messaging through the communities. We did have a Ready Communicator training on the 25th. So now we are up to 59 total Ready Communicators, which is just amazing. It's great. So great job to Mark Dolan for training or holding those trainings. We also posted 2 new videos on YouTube for the recent trainings we had, Wildfire and Resilience, which was one of our residents, Terry Walters, who did an extraordinary amount of work on his home for home hardening and defensible space. By the way, these are on the WPV-Ready YouTube channel. So there's Wildfire Resilience in Action, and then Ready and Able, which was a training I provided to the Sequoias, and it was an awareness session designed for older adults in order to feel more confident during an emergency. And it really focused on 3 things, which was staying safe, assessing, and calling 911. So we didn't want them doing, compressions or anything that was going to be physically taxing. And we wanted to show them, that they could still do a lot without having to actually do anything extremely physical. So we're planning on having an upcoming training. I'm trying to get it done this month, and it's going to be on backup battery power or backup power. And we're trying to make it so it's for people who are very novice to the people that want a very advanced. So I'm hoping to schedule it at the end of this month. I haven't gotten confirmation of it, but it'll be probably on a Friday, either the 21st, I believe, or the 28th are the 2 Friday dates at like 5. I'll make sure I push out a notice. The Woodside EPC started a subcommittee. So there were concerns about El Nino this year being extremely wet. And so we did have the season, I don't know if it was a couple years ago, maybe 2024, I think, where we lost parts of 84, right? And we also, the towns ran out of sand in bags, right? And I know that there was also a theft situation as well. But because they are estimating that could potentially be severe, the subcommittee wanted to start a subcommittee to figure out how they could help prepare. So what we've come up with so far is messaging that we're going to push out. It's going to be before, during, and after severe weather. And then also we're going to give suggestions. They are going to give suggestions to the town council on what to do. Currently, we've also located additional places to store sandbags, one of them being the horse park on Sand Hill, and the other one is most likely going to be up at Skywood, up at the top of Four Corners up there. So we're going to be, CERT and Ready are hopefully going to work together to actually make sandbags in advance for the residents, because that was an issue. So I wanted to share that information with you, because once we get our information together, I will hand it over to you guys, and you guys can push it out any way you want or do what you want with it, since again, we're trying to standardize the messaging. Woodside Fire just put out the newsletter, so I don't know if you guys saw that, but the newsletter, I wanted to focus on going back to school, and one of the things that I did mention that we did mention in there was that it's important for parents to know what the school's plan is for evacuation when it comes to wildfire and any other emergencies. So that was, very prominent in the newsletter to hopefully get them to go, oh, wow, I didn't really think about that. I'm almost done. So with the evacuation exercise, planning is definitely underway. The Fire Marshal Kim has met with the fire agencies. She's met with CERT, the Portola Valley Amateur Radio Club, and they've now distinguished what their role is going to be for the event, communications, which is realistic in a wildland fire. We would not have them actually playing any roles until after it's passed, right? And we're trying to come back into the community. But we want to have an exercise where we're passing messages on and kind of triaging other incidents that may occur. So that's being worked out with the CERT incident management team and the Portola Valley Amateur Radio Club. I want you to just be aware that we want everybody to register for day of text alerts. We are not sending out a WIA because it takes a year to get approval to do that. And we don't have a year right now. So what we did instead is we're using an SMC alert short code is what it's called. So if you go to our website, on the homepage, it has a huge banner on the top that'll take you directly to the exercise page, which is getting updated regularly. But basically what we want you to do is to text a phrase to a number, and then it'll confirm then that you've been registered. And so then on the day of, that's how you will get your emergency alert. We will also be sending a link for the high-low siren so people understand what the sound of that is, and any additional information that we will have. The event will be kicking off at 9 a.m. and we will have an assembly area here at the town, which will have vendors and some refreshments and a node presentation or a node demo up. And I think everything should be set up around 9:30, but we're not actually holding brief until 11. Once everybody else is kind of finished running through their exercises, then we will all come here and hold an official debrief for y'all. Okay, I think that's it. Do you have any questions for me?
Yeah, I had a question of clarification. So PBARC, that has already been arranged, and I probably not paying attention enough. Is that through Mark Dolan?
Yeah, Mark and Ray and a couple other people met with Kim last week. Yeah.
Great.
Also, now that you said this, so the Portola Valley Town Picnic, you and I had spoken, and I did mention that if the EPC would like to have a booth at the town picnic, that we would love for you to join Sir and Ready and Woodside Fire with our little stretch of tables. So I'm sure you'll discuss that later, but.
Yeah, that's agenda
Great.
Item 9.
Perfect.
Great. Thanks for the clarification.
I have a question because somehow the newsletter didn't make it in my mailbox. Where is it on the website?
So if you could just go to the homepage, there's a big orange banner at the top.
Up there. Okay.
It's so in your face that and then you click on it.
No. The newsletter.
Oh, the newsletter. Yeah. If you scroll down, it'll show the Ready Resident newsletter and the news posting.
Okay, I'll look for it.
Yeah, it should be under our news on there. And then I also do post it on the forums and all the groups.io. Thank you.
Randy, go ahead.
Hi, Selena.
Sorry. Hi.
I have a few questions.
Yes.
Comments, requests, in no particular order. But for communications, could you email those to this committee? And then there's a question for the chair. Do we have the alias set up? I think there's an alias, but I think it's not well used. And I think it's Preparedness, but maybe it should just be the committee actual name. So that we can use in lieu of just copying everyone's email address. And then that would make it easier for the authorities to share.
Oh, so.
Any messages that go out to PV Forum, or for example,
Okay.
you mentioned the school sent out the newsletter that addresses.
Oh, no.
emergency
Yeah,
preparedness.
no, we put together a newsletter monthly, and this month's newsletter, I put a section in there to, as kids are going back to school, that one of the things that the parents should be doing is making sure they know what the school plan is for evac and whatnot. So I just wanted to put a note in there. But if you're saying you want communications, and if there is an easy way for me to share it, you can.
Yeah, and that way that alias could get auto updated with everybody's preferred email address.
So Selena, does it make sense to link up with Randy? Because I'm not sure what you guys are even talking about with alias and so forth.
And
it's probably something we shouldn't try and take a lot of time right now.
Yeah, no worries.
Talking about. So
Yeah.
if that's okay.
Yeah.
Randy, could you reach out and
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, pretty straightforward. It's
straightforward to you?
I think it's just trying to get confirmation probably from the town. This is the email.
okay. And
Okay.
we need to get connected to the town so that we get that alias up.
Okay. So let's talk about it offline and
Okay.
resolve this.
My second, I thought you were referring to the PBSD notice. So I checked my email and I do have one child enrolled. And I saw that message about the link to the school safety plan and emergency information. And it's highlighted on the second page, please do not come to school, parents. But I still don't think this adequately addresses the evacuation order and shelter in place. And we've discussed this many times. I'm not trying to bring that up here. I just want to point out, I don't think this adequately addresses this main problem.
Yeah, I think it's consistent. We got to be consistent. And it's really word of mouth at this point, because I tell people every time I spoke at Lynn's meeting and mentioned about what the Portola Valley School District's plans are for shelter in place. And I try to do it everywhere I can. I think, we can push out as much as we want through, presentations that aren't attended or are attended. But I think it also comes down to, we need to spark that fire face to face with people.
Yeah, I think I guess I disagree with that strategy somewhat. I mean, I think that can
Well,
be effective,
we
but
still push it out every way possible, but
well, this gets to my kind of last bigger picture question, and which is, what is the district's AI strategy, and how does that relate to these
what is
issues?
our what strategy?
Your AI related strategy, and how, because I think it touches so much about standardizing communication and pushing it out.
We don't have an AI strategy as far as I know. Yeah. We do utilize it for some of our, editing and whatnot, but, it's not something that we have integrated fully as this is our strategy.
Yeah. I guess I would ask the same thing of our council liaison, or Rebecca Flynn. What is the town's AI strategy, and especially with respect to communication and residents? And obviously there's a bigger picture question than we can address here, and we haven't agendized it. But I think the model with the advances in AI, particularly, AI agents, I think the model of the future is AI and AI agents creating and digest and summarizing the information, large amounts of information.
Mm-hmm.
So for example, from authorities, from the town, from the fire district, using AI to produce those summaries, those reports, those raw documents, and then people's AI agents consuming those. And so that enables people to get the information they want using the complete information from the authorities, from the sources, along with their own context. So I think that's, the future we're moving to. So and it touches this really.
So, hey, Randy, let me interject here. This item isn't agendized, so we really shouldn't be discussing it that much. I think your opinions and your ideas are duly noted. If we want to bring it forward to the entire committee, let's get it on the agenda. Have you, present your opinions and ideas and so forth, and make a plan of what the committee should or shouldn't do along these lines. But we have a really full agenda today.
Yep.
I think we should probably move on.
Even spending 5 or 10 minutes on it next meeting, I think could be really fruitful.
Okay, let's get it on the agenda then.
Yeah, this is world-changing technology. So
yeah,
how do we use it? And it's really advanced in the last 6 months.
Noted. Okay.
Thank you.
Any other questions, comments?
It should be on the homepage. I just posted it. Yeah. Oh, maybe if you click on news, maybe it didn't populate on there. Well, yes, I did also post it on the PV forum. So if you go on there, and you'll see it, if you search August Ready Resident, and I'll double check on the website because I am the one that posts.
So the newsletter is on PV forum.
Yes.
And you're going to check the website.
I'm going to check the
Okay.
website.
All right.
Yes. Okay, great.
All
Thanks.
right. Okay. Thank you so much, Selena. Okay, I think we're ready to move on to item 6, which is kind of important, actually. We need to take a vote on essentially, I don't know exactly how to characterize it, but it's a procedural change where we can, if you want to get to your agenda pack, it's outlined there. I can read it. But if people have read it and know what we're talking about, we're probably ready for a vote. But essentially what it is that we can meet virtually. And that changes the traditional teleconferencing rules and postings. And physical location of the agenda and the quorum requirements don't need to be necessarily in person. So probably made a hash of that. Council approved this policy It needs to be reauthorized every 6 months. We need to take, if we want to do it this way, we need to take a vote about following this procedure. So what I see, the big plus is, of course, if you were having trouble getting a quorum, people can come in on video and be part of the quorum. So that's a big plus. One of the requirements, though, is also that someone needs to be here physically, one person at least, to run the video aspect of it. So I have no problems doing that. And the other requirement, I think, is to put a copy of the agenda posted at the schoolhouse. That's no problem. I can do that. So I would need a motion to take a vote that we follow this new procedure. I think that's the motion that I'm looking for. Okay, seconded. Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Looks unanimous in the schoolhouse. Ray, did you have a vote on that?
It seems odd that I, on
Oh,
Zoom,
wait.
would look for something that would enable me. So
Yeah.
I think I'll abstain just for
Yeah,
procedure.
yeah, and I think Marion just pointed out that I think you need to abstain because because we're still operating under the old policy until we
Exactly.
adopt this. Yep, you got it, Ray. Thank you. Okay, so it passes. And thank you very much for everyone looking at that and approving it. I think it's a big plus. Okay. If there's nothing else, we can go on to item 7, which is a special report of the evacuation exercise, the ad hoc subcommittee. 2 of the members are not here. Lynn, did you have anything that you'd like to say about it? And don't forget to cue your mic.
Kim just said that we had met and we sent an email to Kim G. And we, I know she's on vacation, so we have not heard back, but the update from the Ready newsletter is good. So that gives a lot more information, so more to come.
Okay.
It is on the homepage where you scroll down. I do want to say that I do send it to the town. So the towns both have the newsletter.
Okay.
All right. Thank you. Thank you. I don't think there's a whole lot more there, is there, for us to discuss? Okay. So let's go on to item 9, and that's the our presence at the town picnic. So just a couple of comments here. I won't be here. What I'm thinking is, did I miss 8? Sorry. Back to agenda item 8. That's the review of the safety element ad hoc committee comments sent to the town council. Dale's not here. Neither is Kim.
I'm here on Zoom.
Oh, there he is. Would you like to give us a quick summary? I brought the slides. They're up. Let me introduce it real quickly, Dale, if you don't mind.
Okay.
So what I did is we supplied our comments to the town via PDF forms and so forth. So the problem with capturing all of that and making it a decent summary is a little bit daunting, at least for me. So what I did is captured them to put them in context. There's the original document with a summary or of what the comment is for part of the packet. The second part of the packet that would become very cumbersome. So they're only in an embedded form. So with that being said, Dale, you want to take it from there?
Yeah, essentially, folks, this is a cart before the horse kind of thing. If you remember, there was a very short turnaround. So the committee endorsed the subcommittee to create their comments and submit them to the town for incorporation into the safety element, which will then come back for probably a final reading in front of the town council. The technical response from the town attorney is that we accept these as pending, but we need a final approval from the full committee. So what we do need is we need a vote from the committee today approving these comments to the safety element and to the whatever this thing is, this long-term thing created by the county to make it a formal submission. And unfortunately, we can't make any changes, but we do need a formal vote of this committee. If there are any questions specifically on any of the comments, we can certainly do our best to answer them.
Dale, when does the comment, or Rebecca, when does the comment period close for these two documents?
It closed, about a month ago, Randy.
Okay. So we can still submit these as a committee because we're a committee, but we have to vote on them and can't edit them.
These, Randy, as I mentioned, these have already been submitted. We can't make any changes. However, they are not considered formal submissions until this committee adopts them.
Basically approved what was already submitted. That's the summary of what you said.
That is correct, Jerry. And if you remember, the committee authorized the subcommittee to submit them. That isn't good enough, according to the town attorney.
The subcommittee cannot speak. If the subcommittee is submitting comments, they're not bonded. That has no submitted. They don't have that ability. So that's why town is requesting to approve what the subcommittee already has submitted. So they go under the umbrella of.
Okay, if you could speak in the microphone, then we'll be able to, it'll be available. I listened to the recording of the last meeting because I missed it and I couldn't hear Mayor Craig Taylor's comments. If you could just.
The subcommittee has no standing to submit comments on behalf of the committee. That's why the town attorney has asked for the committee to approve the comments that the subcommittee already submitted. They're being considered already. They're in process, but they need, if they're going to come from the full EPC, then the committee needs to approve them.
Okay,
it's a
so
simple procedural vote.
Right. So the council will consider this formal submission, even though the public comment period isn't over.
Yes,
is over.
yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So Dale, I guess, I mean, my feedback on this would be to just expand to say that not only is the wildfire highest risk, but that Portola Valley has an evacuation problem or something to that effect, or that we have high risk due to our primary evacuation routes, our distribution of houses, and the risk of blockage of those evacuation routes.
Randy,
and then,
we can't make any changes to the comments.
Why is that?
They have already been submitted and the submission period is closed.
Okay, but they haven't been formally
Basically
submitted.
Procedural.
Okay.
It's all
Okay.
done.
Yeah.
You know, we're being asked to approve what's already been done. We can debate it forever, but it's already been submitted. We need to simply approve it. I mean, I'm not arguing with what you said. It's just procedurally, that's not useful.
I'll make a motion to
That we
approve.
approve the recommendations
Second.
that were made by the subcommittee.
Second.
Can you state the motion again, Jerry? And then we'll take a vote.
I move approval of the comments submitted to the town from the subcommittee of the evacuation committee. Is that the-
Okay. Second,
Second.
in favor? Abstentions?
I'll abstain because I don't understand why we can't improve them right now.
Oh, understood. Okay,
I'll just quickly say that the safety element will come back. It will go to the planning commission. So you'll have another opportunity to provide additional comments if you feel like it's not, doesn't say exactly what you say, and then it goes to the town council. I do want to say that the safety element, if you go through and count all of the actions that draft, the majority concern, the largest chunk of those actions involve evacuation. So the town's very aware that that's an issue. And wildfires is also the second largest section.
And the guidance from Mayor Taylor was that this is a formal legal document and does not need to necessarily comprise our guidance, the best guidance and highest priorities of our committee with respect to this. I think he made comments to that effect maybe 2 or 3 months ago. So that's.
Sorry, I didn't understand the guidance document that.
No, the guidance was that this is a formal document that we have that is submitted with the state, and therefore I understood his comments to be that we should lower our standard or with respect to the comments and feedback because this is a legal formal document submitted to the state, and that we have an additional evacuation plan, and that there are essentially other places to specify our priorities.
Let me just clarify about the safety element is a portion of our general plan. That's something that lives for decades. Essentially, we're supposed to be changing those elements every eight years or so. So anything you put into it is pretty high level. So it's not down to specifics that, we're going to communicate a newsletter or we're going to issue this, detailed radio function. It's much higher level. So it's things that will take years to accomplish, or it's just an umbrella for larger policies and actions under which many sub-actions would occur. And the sub-actions are things that the committees and emergency preparedness people and everything take on as responsibilities, but they all fold up into much larger, more high-level actions. So it's not for detailed procedures and policies and actions.
I think the evacuation risk and the specific challenges and risks we face here are high level. And if I haven't reviewed the safety element, I don't know if that's obvious here, but I'll try to make the time to do comments on it and process it before the entire period is over. But I do think it's important in that document to highlight the evacuation risk and that we have a serious evacuation problem.
I think you do need to review it. You'll see that that concept is in the document.
I decided not to after Craig Taylor's comments, like essentially advising us not to.
Let me interject here a little bit. So Rebecca, thank you very much for the clarification. It's what I understood as well. Let me also give you some overarching ideas here, Randy, that might help and for the committee, which is as an individual, you can comment. And granted, the comment period is closed. But I think that you could still make those comments as an individual. The other thing I wanted to say is that remember that we do have this large resiliency and safety subcommittee that the town council is working on. And I understood that is where if you will, where the rubber really hits the road. That's where we can have a lot of input and essentially have a work product and some things that the town can do or would like to do. These documents that have been reviewed are much higher level. So I guess what I'm trying to say is we have many more bites at the apple coming up. So these are our avenues for us to be more engaged at a more granular level than these documents. Have I characterized that correctly? I see Rebecca. Go ahead.
Yes. And I want to go, it's premature for me to announce this, but given that there's interest, that's right this minute, we're calling it the Portola Valley Safety Tracker, but the name is up in the air. I'm almost done with it, and I'm planning to have a few people within various safety committees review it. It's all cleaned up, and what was provided at the safety meeting, the safety study session was just really the sausage making. So it was unfortunate that it happened that way. But anyway, so it's completely reformatted and redone and cleaned up. And I'm going to get some feedback from a couple people. I'll probably send it to you. And then we're going to send it to every committee to have their eventually to have their comments and to be able to put in there your priorities, what you consider most important, what you think is missing from the list, to provide all that information. So I'm hoping that'll come to you literally, it'll come to you in the next week or so, but to the committees, it would come later after I get comments from specific people, but
Okay, great. Thanks for the update.
you'll be able to put really more detailed actions and sub-actions in.
Right. Okay, very good. I'd like us to move on then to item 9. That's the presence at the town picnic, which is September 19th. Again, I won't be there. So here's what I do know. I reached out to get us a table. And that's probably not going to be a problem. We've been invited to be right next door to Woodside Fire Protection District. I think that's great. How I envision this, if I may be so bold, is to have a presence from essentially 3 of our subcommittees or members of subcommittees. And that would be the power resiliency, the comms, what's like radio, AM 1680, and of course, outreach. So that's what I'm looking for. I'm also looking for volunteers, people who can attend and would like to attend and be at the picnic. I think it's important. I remember, I think last year we tried to get there, and Ronis was not very happy that we couldn't be there. So I think it's important. Unfortunately, I won't be there, but open to discussion about can people attend? What functions would they like to do?
I can't attend because I'm already at the Conservation Committee booth.
Okay.
Otherwise, I'd be happy to.
Okay. So I'll put some people on the spot, and they don't need to answer today necessarily, but Fred, can you make it? Lynn?
I plan to participate in the radio aspect of it for the Zotz to Tots race and then come to our table.
Yeah, I see. You're going to be deployed as CERT,
Yeah.
so to speak, and then
Come
Okay.
to EPC
So
table.
you can do that's possible, right? I mean, the timing works out. Okay, Fred.
Yeah, I think I can be there. I need to double check calendar and time of day, but I suspect I should be able to at least be there for part of it.
Okay, great. It's an all Navy team so far. Vic, I know that you've been very involved with outreach.
Right.
So I'm putting you on the spot.
No, that's perfectly okay.
Okay.
I am scheduled to be out of town,
Okay,
and I can't change that schedule, but if it does change, I'll let you know, and I certainly will
Okay.
attend, okay?
all right. And I'll ask Ray and Dale. They don't need to necessarily respond. I can send an email, but I think at least we have a couple of people that can man that booth. So I will make the request to get a table, and we'll do it.
And what are the hours that are?
Ooh. Well, I think it starts at 4 a.m. and goes to, no, I don't know. I don't know what the hours are.
Okay.
I'm sorry. Okay,
11
11 to 3. Thanks, Rebecca.
Craig, this Dale, I cannot be there.
Okay, thank you, Dale.
Just from experience, we probably need one person who takes responsibility to handle what should be there, the setup,
Yeah, so
takedown.
let me do this. I'll kick off the logistics. And then, Fred, if you can handle it from there, I know you probably can.
Yeah, 11 through 3 should be fine, actually. So
Say again?
11 to 3, that time should be fine for me.
Okay,
So,
great.
Happy
Gotcha.
to help out.
Okay, so I'll reach out to you guys. I'll kick things off and get things going, and then do the handoff as I disappear. Okay, I think that's it for 9. Subcommittee reports. EOP, EOC. Yeah, go ahead. Ben.
We continue to meet weekly from 10 to 12 in the conference room. And we steadily make progress, and it's fun. And if you want to stop in and see the progress, you're welcome to come. So that's my report.
Okay, great. Communications, this is Ray.
Yeah, things are going pretty well, I'd say. With our new library message manager, we have put up some new messages, and it has the ability to concatenate some messages. So right now we're running the general message, the wildfire, grass, clean your house up message. And Selena just recorded a new message about the 9/11 evac. So all three of those are running back to back. Otherwise, things are in pretty good shape.
Yeah, I would agree. Randy, you have a comment?
Yeah, Ray, at the last meeting, you mentioned the guy poking his finger in your chest about the AM radio message not changing during an active fire. And what's the follow-up on that? Have you been able to figure out why the message didn't change? Is that problem resolved so that it will be in the future?
It's a protocol matter, and the town manager is responsible for deciding when to change the messages. The Woodside Fire Department can change the messages and so forth. So I talked to the fire department about it. They didn't seem, given what the nature of those fires were, they didn't seem, I'm not going to put words in their mouth, but they didn't think it was necessary to change the message. I would certainly not be a responsible enough. It'd not be my expertise to make that decision. And no one called me, so it was only at that time. And that gentleman, apparently he thought it was important enough, and that just wasn't my call. And I don't think it was. And I don't, we did talk to Darcy about it, but likewise, and Selena. I think is Selena still in the room? Anyway, I know I
Yes,
talked to
yes.
Kim about it. I talked to Kim about it. Anyway, it just didn't seem like it's not our call for something like that, and that's what we learned.
Selena, is it documented how those decisions are made with respect to like severity of the incident?
You
of fire?
referring to the Rastradero fire?
Yeah, I think
whichever
it
fire-
was. It was the Arrested
Yeah.
Development. There were
So-
two of them out there. So anyway, keep going.
Yeah, that was out of county, and we did obviously provide mutual aid. And all our resources were going towards sending out the SMC alert, right? So that was our primary way to send a message out. Had that fire gotten bigger and we needed to issue a warning or evac, obviously then we would have taken into consideration. But by the time that we even had the SMC alert sent out, the fire had already been under control.
Oh, actually, this reminds me, because I was driving home from Palo Alto on that day, and the SMC alert led me to believe that the later one that the fire was cleared led me to believe that Arrestadero was open, but I told my wife, like, let's not go home that way, let's go home Alpine. But I was on autopilot and I made a wrong turn, and we ended up hitting the road closure past the Arrestadero parking lot. And I remember I was going to follow up and give feedback that the SMC alert didn't indicate that the road was still closed. So
yeah, you are correct
okay.
on that. That was not something that we had put in there. Again, I think that would be with the sheriffs, but that's Santa Clara County at that point too. But yeah, it could have been added to the SMC alert. I think at that time we just wanted to send out a message, just letting people know, like, this is what's happening. There's no need for concern. We were handling it. But what I do want to strongly encourage, and this is what, I tell everybody, is we need to have a layered approach when it comes to communications. And residents need to be proactive by downloading Watch Duty on their phones and signing up for SMC alerts. We really push Watch Duty at this point, because if you want live updates, Watch Duty is it. Watch Duty will also pull information from Genesis, Stonehaven. If we do need to evacuate, it'll pull that information into Watch Duty. And if you if you decide to subscribe to the paid version, you get a lot more like modeling and other layers that you can access on there too. So Watch Duty is really what we're telling people to go to. the free app is great though.
So I understand the fire didn't grow and didn't escalate. It didn't become a very serious incident, but I was concerned because road closure, I think, should be very front and center in all of the messaging that goes out on SMC Alert. And so I think it should be up to date and it should
Yep.
be accurate and it should be always included. So I
Yep.
guess I'd ask
I will
to
make
review.
sure we make note of that.
Okay,
Yeah.
thank you.
Thank you, Selena. So, yeah, I think that the last part of the discussion was definitely out of scope from, the communications subcommittee. But duly noted, good comments. If there's nothing else on 10B, let's move to 10C, which is evacuation. Dale, did you have any updates? And Randy, you're also on that subcommittee.
No,
There he
there's
is.
nothing new on that.
Okay, thank you, Dale. 10D, the neighborhood and.
Real quick, Craig,
Say.
real quick, Chair. I have nothing to add at this time, but I have mentioned this to you, but I don't think I've mentioned this to the committee, that I sent a detailed list of questions to the fire district and to school superintendent, PVSD superintendent Roberta Zarea last December regarding the school and shelter in place policy and issue. And Superintendent Zarea said she would get back to me, I think within a month, but I still haven't heard anything on that. And many of those questions were included in previous years. And I haven't received anything about that. And I put quite a bit of work into that. And I think we're coming up on the start of the school year. Again, I gave feedback on the communication, and I think, I may be alone on this committee in thinking this is important and a priority, but I still do. And I just want to make note that those questions are still outstanding questions and suggestions. And
Okay. All right. Thank you, Randy. Noted. 10D, the neighborhood and resident outreach. Vic, any updates there?
Further.
Nothing further. Okay, thank you.
Wait.
Oh, wait, I'm sorry. There is something further.
So the weekly preparedness challenge on the forum, I receive an email or a personal comment every week. So I think the message is getting out. I checked with the hardware store to see if they have over-the-top sales in safety things, and sadly, no, but it's been a very slow summer for them all around. But they are, they have it laminated, the calendar laminated, and will honor any request for anybody that comes in. Their whole staff has been trained on the challenge. So and I'm having fun doing it. So.
Okay.
Actually,
great.
I want to thank you for doing this, because I see it, and this is work, and you do it week after week, and that's pretty work too. So thank you.
The ad hoc safety element, actually, I think that's been covered by the previous agenda item. And then, so the last one is 10F, the power and resilience. And I know that name isn't exactly correct, so I'll correct it for the next agenda. Fred, can you give us an update?
Sure. The main focus so far has been on trying to figure out what exactly the energy and power situation is for the town center. And then kind of secondary to that is what we can provide as far as information goes to the town residents about power and communications backup. And so far, we have gone around. I went around with Craig Taylor after the last meeting here and figured out kind of the as-built situation for the solar panels. We got some information on the generator. And so we're trying to just pull some more information about what can be done with the generator. And basically it might need some maintenance. We'll find out. So we're working through that.
Yeah, let me add that I took a look at the generator also, and it turns out that as expected, Dale has a great deal of personal experience with generators and so forth. But the update I wanted to give is I did go and find out approximately what it would cost to do an inspection and figure out what it takes to fire up the diesel generator and see if it works, and things of that nature, including the circuits and so forth. So I threw it over the wall essentially to Craig Taylor and Rebecca for them to take a look at what we're proposing and go from there. So that's just a quick update. What I'd like to see is, kind of chipping away at this. And one of the things we can chip away at is the diesel generator. It's capital that's sitting there. We should figure out, whether it's viable or not and how much it costs and so on and so forth. So thanks for the update. I thought I'd just interject my 2 cents. So, all right.
I have a quick question. Fred, Lynn, has this come up in the EOC work? Anything related to backup power in the generator?
No,
Okay.
I can answer that. No, not necessarily. This is something that's kind of independent. We looked at, kind of understanding, well, what happens if power goes off at town center? It's not necessarily related to EOC. I mean, tangentially, yes, but it's pretty much its own separate thing. Including things like, not just the generator, but backup power for things like the library, for town center and so forth.
Okay. It just seemed if the generator hasn't been run and tested in a while and now it's a problem, we don't know if it will even turn on perhaps. But it seems like that should touch the EOC, but for the backup emergency power issue. I'm just sensitive whenever I hear things related, I'm concerned about power going out, communication going out, and evacuation routes closing. And how are those communicated? What are the procedures for dealing with power outages, communication outages, evacuation route closures?
Yeah, I think I know what you're saying. I understand, I think. But for what it's worth, my opinion is that the power infrastructure is something that you can attack and look at independent of evacuation routes and so forth. So it's backup power. It's how do we generate that? How do we store it and so forth? So I look at it more from an infrastructure standpoint, but of course it overlaps with things like the EOC evacuations and so forth. But again, the scope and purpose of the subcommittee is pretty contained within, backup communication and backup power.
I guess my suggestion would be to perhaps you could bring this to Kim for the EOC to have whatever the periodic time of testing, every 3 months, every 6 months, every 1 year. I would imagine that the staff who's involved with the EOC would do that action, but I would think part of that would be to fire up that generator, test the systems, and this would be once the current situation is resolved by Fred and.
Yeah, and that's exactly what the subcommittee is looking. So yeah. Vic, I see your mic is on. Did you want to say something? No, not a problem. Okay. Vic,
Yeah, I just wanted to say that the
Rebecca.
generator was fired up a couple months ago during that last PG&E outage that affected town center. And I'd say the biggest issue with the generator is that it only powers town hall. So, I mean, that's helpful for town hall, but it doesn't power the library. So that causes all sorts of issues and their communication goes down. The library does have its own solar powered backup battery system, but it's very small. So it would just power their internet, their phones, some basic lights, but wouldn't provide cooling or like that, which is critical. I'm blanking on which department at the San Mateo County, but they're looking to I think it's the emergency management department. They're looking to establish cooling centers in various communities within San Mateo County. And they've been speaking to libraries to see if libraries could become those cooling centers. So they're looking also into finding funding for that function. So this is all sort of some of the same thing. And as Fred and Craig know, I've been trying to get, I've been working on this program to get battery backup for the town center using the grant that we have from Westlight Energy, which used to be Peninsula Clean Energy. So I'm slowly moving that forward. So hopefully we will have at least some backup for town center.
Yeah, thank you for the additional information. I know that you've been working a lot with Fred. The subcommittee is kind of getting its feet underneath it about how we all collaborate. So with that being said, those are my comments. Is there anything else on that agenda item? Okay, hearing nothing. Agenda item 11 is our next meeting is September 5. I will be here. September 3, excuse me. I will be here. I'm not really going to bother too much with a quorum check right now. I'll send out an email and see if what's going on there. And again, correct. So we do kind of need to know whether people are going to be zooming in or not. But yes, you understand. I got it. Thanks a lot, Miriam. With that being said, I would ask for a motion to adjourn. All in favor or in favor? All right, everyone's in favor. Thank you so much, everyone. Thank you again, Veronica, for helping me set it all up. And thank you, Rebecca and Woodside Fire Protection District. Thank you all for being here. We got through it a little bit faster than I thought. Thank you.